Then Pilate saw that he was making no impression, that in fact a riot was imminent. So he took some water, washed his hands in front of the crowd, and said, "I am innocent of this man's blood. It is your concern." Pilate hụrụ na o nweghị uru ọbụla okwu ya bara, na n'ezie ha dị nkwadebe ịmalite ọgba aghara. O wee buru mmiri kwọchaa aka ya n'ihu igwe mmadụ ahụ sị ha, "Aka m dị ọcha n'ebe ọbara nwoke a dị, ọ gbasazikwara unu." Sorry, sir. Mr. Pilate, Your Excellency, the Governor, Pilate, you are not innocent. You can't be innocent because you knew it was out of jealousy. Ị maara na ọ bụ anya ụfụ, ntaji anya ka ha ji rara nwoke a nye. Onye ebe na-akwọcha n'aka, your wife warned you. The law of Rome, the Roman Empire, set this man free because he's not guilty. Ebia publicly now, you say, well, I come the chow. Sir, Excellency, you are guilty. We began with Hosanna. We have ended with Crucify him. From Hosanna to Crucify him, what happened? Oziọma anyị nụrụ mgbe anyị na-ebido emume ọbụba Jesu bara Jerusalem na ndị mmadụ na-eti Hosanna, kporo ekwa, igu, akwụkwọ osisi sashi n'ala. Jesu gara n'elie, ya na ele anyịnya ibu ọ nọ n'elie, ya na anyịnya ibu ọ nọ n'elie gara n'ele kwa ha, n'ele akwụkwọ ha kashiri n'ala. Hosanna dịrị nwa nke David. Now, what do you want me to do with this man? Crucify him. Well, number one, these things came the same day. It was not the same day that Jesus entered Jerusalem that he was brought before Pilate. Jesus entered Jerusalem as the feast of the Passover was drawing near. He was brought to Pilate a day or two before the Passover. Some few days passed. So not because the same day. But the question is, ajụjụ every time, but about the same people who tiro Hosanna, Sarah Bagboya, are we dealing with the same people? Because the change is so dramatic. There are some possible answers. Anyị na-asịgide na ọ bụ the same people. Na ọ bụ ndị a tiri Hosanna na-asị kpọgbuo ya. Just like us. Anyị na-eti Hosanna, anyị ivu igu, anyị yasị na di nwe na anyị bụ eze. Kwukwe ya ọzọ bọchị Corpus Christi procession, Christ the King. Mana by the time anyị na ha ala, anyị jee na ezinụlọ anyị, n'obodo anyị, n'ebe dị iche iche anyị na-arụ ọrụ maọbụ azakra, ọ ga-aba ego Hosanna ahụ anyị na-eti ọ bụrụ kpọgbuo ya. We change just like the crowd. So, some say it is the same group of people. No, the same people. O nwere ndị ọzọ na-asị na ọ bụghị the same people. Some will explain the two groups are different because the crowd that followed Jesus as he entered Jerusalem are the normal inhabitants of the city. And they have no access, they can't have any access to the meeting of the Sanhedrin or to Pilate's house. Now, ọ bụghị the same people, na ọ bụghị ndị tiri Hosanna sịrị kpọgbuo ya, maka na ndị tiri Hosanna bụ ndị mmadụ ndị bi na Jerusalem, normal people, ndị mmadụ nkịtị, ndị na-aza akra, ndị na-arịọ, ndị ogbenye. Mana ndị asịkọsị kpọgbuo ya bụ ndị okwu na-eru n'ọnụ rukpotere n'ebe Pilate na mbe ndị isi ụkọchukwu na ndị ode akwụkwọ na ndị na-achị obodo nọ nzukọ. Na ọ bụghị the same people. Maka na ọ bụ nga ọha nle n'ọnwa be jeje kwetebe gọvanọ n'Enugu. Ọ bụ eziokwu kọwa asị. Not everybody has access to the governor's house. Not everybody had access to Pilate's house. So some people argue, not because the same people, not two different sets of people. In my opinion, it can be the same people. O nwere ike bụ ndị ahụ tiko Hosanna. At least ụfọdụ n'ime ha so sikọnụ kpọgbuo ya, ta ọ bụrụ na ọ bụghị ha niile. Those who shouted Hosanna, Hosanna. Some of them were among those who said, crucify him, even if not all of them. Now my question is, what happened? Whether it is the same group, or only some of them, or even a different group, what happened? Gana batari here. There is a short video clip that has gone around the whole world and has received over 100 million views in TikTok alone, without counting Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. This clip shows us a small boy. Two of his teeth are missing in front. And he was crying. After crying for 2 seconds, he changed and started laughing. I'm sure many of you have seen that clip. Nwatakịrị na-akwa ekwa. Ọkwa ekwa he ugboro na-abọ bido dagada ọchị. And both the cry and the laughter were sincere. People kept circulating that clip until 2 weeks ago. The true story of that boy emerged. His name is Albert Ofosu Nketia. Albert Ofosu Nketia, 7 years old, from Ghana, living in Kumasi with the mother. The mother told a story that something happened. Something happened. The boy wanted food, a particular type of food, and that food was not available. And the mother gave him the food that was available. And after having eaten that food, the grandmother asked him, You said you wouldn't eat that food. Now you have eaten it. So you were just being mischievous. So he started crying. As he was crying, the same grandmother started singing a song, a very funny song for him, and he started laughing. This boy moved from cry to laughter in a few seconds. That is all we see. Without this story, we would not have known that there was another person behind, responsible both for the cry and for the laughter. Otito dịrị Jesu. Nwatakịrị a bere akwa, chinekwa baa n'ọchị. Anyị na-asị o nwere ihe na-eme nwatakịrị na-eme otu a. Mana ihe anyị ga-aghọta bụ na o nwere onye nọ n'azụ akpa ya ụka ọchị, egbu ya ili. All of you know also, the Igbo boy from Anambra, I think he's about 10 or 12 years, Nwakoboko. Ihe shi that boy n'ọnụ afụta. When you listen to him, you'll be wondering, kedebe nwatakịrị a shi fụta? Nwakoboko. Onye na-ajụ, ka njụgodu unu nwa bụ ndị a gụchagoro akwụkwọ. Mgbe ọbụla onye nkụzi anyị na-enye anyị nsogbu anyị see cockroach. Unu nwa bụ ndị togoro eto, kedu uru ise cockroach bara unu? Aghọtazikwa m o. Anyị lile chima. There is also another boy. There are many of them now. Another boy called Kamsi from Elugu, who is also making clips. Most of the time on our condom madonu. Otito dịrị Jesu. Kedu ihe o jikere ụmụaka taa? And all the other children whose clips you see, there are adults behind them. There are people behind them. And let me tell you what those adults are doing. They are manipulating the children. They are manipulating them, playing on their innocence and their genuine feelings. These adults are exploiting the innocence of children, their honesty, their genuine feelings, to push a message to their own advantage. Now, what happened? We hear the chief priests had persuaded the crowd to demand the release of Barabbas. The Sanhedrin, chief priests, elders of the people, the Pharisees, they organized, seeing the influence of Jesus, manipulated a weak apostle, Judas, who betrayed him to them. They conducted a kangaroo court, condemned him in the Sanhedrin, took him bound to Pilate. They instigated the crowd, one, to demand the death of Jesus, two, to protest should Pilate release him. And they arrived at the Praetorium. Pilate, just judge, intelligent governor, disciplined by the Roman law, saw the truth. But these same instigators, manipulators, still worked on his psychology. John's gospel will tell us later, if you release this man, you are no longer a friend of Caesar. The same group of people, what was their problem? They didn't want change because they were benefiting from the corrupt situation. People thought they wanted the liberation of Israel. People thought they wanted freedom for the children, for the Jews. The high priests had become political, all of them. And it did not matter to them, right or wrong. They only wanted to keep their authority. Nobody dared question their authority. That was why when Jesus answered, is that how you answer the high priest? How dare you? The Pharisees were interested in observing the law, whether they were ruled by the Romans or by the Assyrians or by the Jews, provided the law was kept. Can't you see people who were condemning an innocent person to death, whose manipulative action had led a weak apostle to commit suicide? And now they are worried about blood money. We can't put this money in our treasury. Evil, wicked men. You are concerned about your treasury. A man has just died and another one is about to die. And you are concerned about putting money in your treasury? These are religious fanatics that manipulate the psychology, the will, and the mind of the people. Innocent people. They existed then. They exist even now. And then, a person like Pilate, who knew what he was supposed to do. He knew the law, but he was prepared to sacrifice an innocent man to keep his position and his reputation. Now, the difference between Albert Ofosu Nketia, Nwakoboko, and Kamsi, and Judas, Pilate, and the crowds, the difference between these two sets, Bonandan Keys is a boom worker. Man, these others in the gospel were adults. If you are an adult, you take responsibility for your action, no matter who is behind manipulating you. I want to tell all of you that we are all under the influence of subtle manipulators. And they use all sorts of means. There are representatives of the Sanhedrin in the world today. What they specialize in is manipulating so-called public opinion. There is nothing like public opinion because the public will never gather to have one opinion. It is an opinion of one or two or a few perverse individuals who have an agenda and they spread their idea in such a way as to make others believe it is for their own good, for everybody's good. Whether it is the gender ideology in the whole world, or the seat at home in Igbo land, or the destruction of Igbo property in Lagos, or the manipulation of the electoral process, whatever it is, there are some people behind manipulating all of us. And I'm telling us as adults, wake up. The death of Christ should wake you up. The same manipulator tried with Jesus. Bob Yaron at Gethsemane, the devil came and he was saying, Father, but then the man in him said, not my will, but your will. That is how you know a mature human being. The manipulator will always come. Then again, while he was hanging on the cross, the manipulators came. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross and we will believe in you. Up till today, they are still trying to manipulate his church, to lower the standards, to come down from the cross, to abandon the teaching of Christ, whether it is about sexuality or about marriage or about the priesthood. Come down, the church, change so that you get more people. Now lie. If Jesus had come down from the cross, they would have laughed at him and gone away. He stayed and died. And the first to confess that he was the Son of God was a Roman soldier. Not even a Jew. Because he remained. My church and we who are the church should know. The more we reduce the standard, the more we abandon Christ's teaching, the more we try to change the gospel to accommodate those whom we think we are losing, the more persons we lose. That is manipulation. But time will come when you say, no, the truth must stand. One instrument of manipulation in contemporary society is ICT. Information and Communications Technology. It has so many aspects. Onye ọbụla n'ime unu check ma ego ole ọ na-spend na data. Then ụkọ kọpụ a ego ga-adaga na-post, na-circulate, na-share. Spending money, believing stories you have never checked. That is manipulation. Ota nwata jiri gbagbu udene bụ okenye kwerie. Some of the decisions we are arriving at were first decided by people who have other interests. May the death of Christ on the cross wake you up to stand for your convictions and for your beliefs. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated by the Sanhedrin. To be more particular, those same manipulators have come again now in Nigeria, talking about ethnic divisions, talking about religious divisions, so that there will be crisis, so that there will be destruction, so that there may even be a war. And those of them who sell arms will import arms. Those of them who are in power will cling to power. And let me ask you a question. Many of the shops in Lagos where Igbo people are trading are owned by Yoruba people and rented to them by Yoruba people. Many of the houses they are living in are owned by Yoruba people and rented to Igbo people by Yoruba people. And they don't have problems. They don't have problems with rent. They don't have problems with their relationship. How do you think that those same people or their children will rise up one day and go and set those shops on fire? Manipulation. I want to say here before God that Nigeria has never ever been divided according to ethnic or religious lines. Never, and never will it be. But it has always been divided according to the rich and powerful and the poor and oppressed. And those rich and powerful are manipulating the poor and oppressed to keep destroying one another so that they remain in power. You must say no to this. Our problem is not religion, whether Islam or Christian or traditional religion. Our problem is not ethnic group, whether Ijo or Isekiri or Efik or Obibio or Igbo or Hausa Fulani or Yoruba or Edo. that is not our problem. It is our wealth. The division of Nigeria is between the rich and the poor, the powerful and the oppressed. Those same people, when you were queuing in banks and stripping yourselves naked to get 1,000 naira to feed your families, they had hundreds of millions of the new notes in their houses. And now they want you to go and fight. Say no. Christ, with his death, divided the curtain, tore the curtain that separates us, in order that we may be united against evil. Let nobody in the south or in the north, in the east or in the west, in the southeast or southwest or northeast or northwest ever think that by attacking his fellow Nigerian, destroying his fellow Nigerian, working against his fellow Nigerian or fellow human being, he will be advancing the cause of his ethnic group or his religion. He will only be doing the bidding of the powerful and the rich. Pilate, you are guilty. You are not innocent. But those who stayed in the background and manipulated you are more guilty. All of us adults are guilty for the decisions we take, of the decisions we take. We are responsible for those decisions. But we should be careful that there are manipulators behind.